Shalom Uvracha Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh. This evening, with the help of Hashem, we hope to study the Haftarah of Parshat Lech Lecha. Our prophetic reading of the Haftarah this week is taken from the 40th and 41st chapters of the book of Isaiah. And I would like to study the very opening statement, very opening section of the Haftarah. Those interested in following the exact verse, it's chapter 40, verse 27 of Isaiah, Perek Mem Pasuk Kaf Zayin, the beginning of the Haftarah of Lech Lecha. Lama tomar Yaakov utdaber Yisrael nistira darki me Hashem ume Elokai mishpati ya'avor. The Jewish people were complaining, maybe some are still complaining, that God ignored them, that God is ignoring them, that God is not listening to them, that God is ignoring the Jewish existence. Yeshayahu responds, why is it that you say, O Jacob? Why is it that you declare, O Israel, my way is hidden from God, my cause is ignored by my Lord? The Jewish nation were either saying it, verbally or subconsciously thinking it. And Yeshayahu, why? Why are you taking this? Why are you taking this attitude that God has abandoned us? Why are the Jewish people walking around saying that God has forgotten us? And it seems that a common feeling amongst the Jewish people was, and as I say, may still be, because the words of the prophet are not just words of the past, but many of them are words of today. Lama tomar Yaakov, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that in our time of need, God is not there? Please take note of the double expression, Lama tomar Yaakov utdaber Yisrael. Why do you say this, O Jacob? Why do you relate this, O Israel? Yaakov and Yisrael seem to be more or less synonyms. They seem to be two names of the very same person, Jacob and Israel. God changes Yaakov's name to Yisrael. However, in our tradition, Yaakov and Yisrael generally refer to two different levels of Am Yisrael. Yaakov being the lower level, the heel. Yaakov, Akev means the bottom of the foot, the heel. While Yisrael usually represents the higher level, the level of advanced being. Yisrael, like Sarkel, like the highest beings. And maybe Yeshayahu is saying, okay, maybe if Yaakov would speak this way, I understand. Yaakov, the masses don't understand. Yaakov, the lower level of the people of Israel, are complaining that God is not with them. But Yisrael, Lama Tomar Yaakov, Utidaber Yisrael, even the learned ones, even those who are ahead in terms of spiritual growth, they're also saying this. And he continues in sentence 28, and he says, don't you realize that God is there? Halo Yadata, I'm continuing. The Pasuk Kafchet, the second Pasuk of the Haftarah. Halo Yadata, Halo Shamata. Don't you understand? Asks the prophet. Don't you see God in history? Don't you see the divine hand in that which takes place? Halo Yadata, Halo Shamata. Our world is a world where often God is in hiding. And as we have studied the story more than once, remember the story about the Rabbi, the Rabbi, who sees this little boy crying. And he goes over to this little boy and he says, why are you crying? He says, because we were playing hide and seek. So you're crying because you're playing hide and seek? He said, no, you don't understand. I went to hide. No one came to seek me. He says, you know why God cries? Because God is playing hide and seek with us also. And the saddest part of the world is when God is in hiding and people are not seeking. There is God. God is ever evident. in the world. Halo yadata. Halo shamata. The Hebrew word for world, the root of the Hebrew word for world is the same root in Hebrew as the Hebrew word for concealment. Olam, ayin lamed mem, means to hide. Laha'alim, ne'elam, missing, concealed, hidden. Because this world is a world of concealment. You know Psalm 91? It's a very, very famous psalm. On many occasions it's recited. Amongst them is we recite this in our prayers on Shabbat morning in the Psukei de Zimra section. Yoshev, Psalm 91 verse 1. Yoshev Beseter Elyon. There are many ways of translating. But amongst the ways that one can understand this pasuk is that God, the elevated one, the elated one, is sitting in hiding. God, Hashem, is Yoshev Beseter. The Elyon, the highest force in the world, is Yoshev Beseter. God is in concealment. And unfortunately, when God is in concealment, so the people start drawing conclusions that God is not there. But that's only because they don't see God. Rav Kook writes in his commentary on the Sidur, in Olat Re'iyah, in his commentary on Psalm 91, in his writings on Shabbat morning, he says, "Ha'hofa'ah ha'elokit ba'a eleinu mitoch ha'mistor ha'elyon shel kel mistater." The presence of God appears to us very often through the hiding place, through the concealment of the divine who is in hiding. But you have to seek, you have to find. You have to seek God, even though it's not always so evident. Wouldn't it be so much easier if God just appeared every morning? Wouldn't that be easy? It was so many of the challenges of life would be, should I be religious? Should I not be religious? Should I observe? Should I not observe? Should I do? God appears and says every morning. It would be easier for all of society. The only problem would be that would be the end of free will. And this whole world is based on a system of free will. Yes, of course, no one would violate the teachings of God if God appeared every morning. No one would walk around saying there is no God. But part of the challenge is, can you see God even when it's Yoshev B'Seiter, even when God is in hiding, is in concealment? Later on in this very book of Isaiah, if you're interested, it's Isaiah chapter 45, verse 15. Perek Mem Hey, Pasuk Tetvav. We read the same message. Achein, behold, indeed, Ata Kel Mistater. You are God in concealment. We have to understand that which it says later in the Haftarah. Further on in our Haftarah, we read Halo Yadata, Halo Shamata, and in Isaiah 41, in the second section of the Haftarah, we read Mi Pa'al Va'asa. Don't you recognize? Don't you realize who is really doing and achieving everything that's going on in the world? Don't you see it? And if it's not evident to you, maybe you should spend time studying it. Maybe you should see God, even when God is in concealment. Our challenge is to see God, even when God is in hiding. I read once a story about this father who was not yet connected to the awareness of God, and the son who already was exposed to the wisdom of the ever-existent Creator. And they were arguing back and forth and debating. The father was insisting constantly on the position of the atheistic position or agnostic position. And the son, who was very strong in his faith, was constantly talking to his father about the existence of God. So one night when the young boy went to sleep, the father decided he's going to put a sign right near his bed. And he writes a sign in very, very big letters, which says on it, God is nowhere. And when the boy wakes up in the morning, he says, my son, do you see what it says here? That's the reality of the world. God is nowhere. To which the son responds to his father, Daddy, perhaps you don't read English well? That's not what it says. It says God is now here. So the God is nowhere is really the real reading of that sentence is God is now here. All the nowhere people of the world should hopefully, I hope, is the course of the study to the response to Isaiah's teaching should turn the nowhere to the now here. We should be able to experience the glory of God without any difficulties. I think one of the causes why the people were saying this is because they were going through so much stress and so much difficulty. May all the stress and all the difficulty be removed from the Jewish people, from the whole world. And then perhaps it'll be easier for everyone to see that it's not nowhere, but it's right now here. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.